Here's a quick look at the listings that we're going to be featuring today. Today we'll be featuring an updated studio apartment in the beautiful Wisteria Mansion condominiums. We'll also be featuring an amazing 2-level loft penthouse with a private terrace in Logan Circle. So as you can see, guys, we have 2 really cool listings. My guests today are Kevin Gray of Trent & Co. Team at Compass. And we also have with us Tom O'Neill of the Pam Ryan Bride Group at Compass. So let's bring in our guests and let's get started. Hi, guys. How's it going?
Hey there.
Hey, Karen.
Good. So I hear just a little beeping. Are we getting a little feedback? You guys okay over there? Okay,
everything
awesome.
on that side.
Awesome. So how was the week? How was your week, Kevin? Did you have a good week? Was it a busy week, or tell me about your week?
Week was busy. Can't complain. Got a couple buyers under contract and have a couple settlements coming up this week. The final, 5 or so hours left of the work week this week. So yeah, it's been a busy week.
Awesome. So you have a few settlements going on this afternoon.
I do. Yes. But I wanted to be here with you, Karen, because that's more important. So here we are.
Well, we're not going to play this for your clients, but thank you for being here. We really appreciate it.
Of course.
So Tom, tell me about your week. How was your week?
I also, had a great busy week. We had some buyers get their contract accepted on a home in Southeast, and they're going to have a very quick turnaround for settlement. It's going to be like 20 days. So we've been getting a lot of balls rolling there. And then, of course, having a new listing coming live just this morning, which I'm excited to talk about today.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to share your listings. Logan Circle, and then Kevin's is in Logan Circle, and then Tom, yours is right between Logan Circle, Shaw, and the Mount Vernon area. Is that?
It is, yeah. When you look at Mount Vernon area on the map, the very tip of the triangle at the end is where this property is located. So it's kind of right between where Logan, Shaw, Mount Vernon, and City Center all meet.
Okay, awesome. Great. Okay, well then, Tom is going to go first, guys, and then Kevin is going to go second. And I'm very excited about both of these listings because they're really cool, and I can't wait for you to see both of them. So let's get, I'm going to put myself and Kevin in the waiting room, and then we are going to get started.
Sure thing. Awesome. So today I have for you guys to share a listing at 1101 L Street Northwest. It's unit 606 in the Wisteria Mansion condominiums, a historic building built in 1926 there in downtown DC. Was apartments for a very, very long time. And then when they switched in the 70s to a condominium style ownership, they had a lot of residents stay. And even to this day, it's still a very much resident owned building. Where most of the people who do live there are folks who actually occupy their units, which is great for the community feel as well. So right here, we're kind of on the corner of 11th and L Street. It's almost where Massachusetts meets them as well. So foot traffic wise, you're off of Massachusetts and it's nice, but it does make sure that you're accessible to everything as well. You can see here from some of these outdoor shots, there is a gorgeous community garden that they keep outside. And actually it's maintained by one of the building's residents, who is a master gardener and a horticulturist themselves. So lovely during the springtime. It also gets south-facing light from this angle. So even after the snow, it melts away very quickly and leaves you with a really lush, beautiful community area to be able to enjoy at the same time. Here inside the lobby, it's obviously got that 1926 vibes. However, throughout the building, the condo association has been enormously fiscally responsible and done a really great job of making sure that the building stays updated, it stays comfortable, and it stays energy efficient as well, without having to levy any sort of special assessments on its residents in any sort of frequency. So as you can see here, all of the windows, except for those beautiful transom windows, are new to the building, all around the building from 2019. They're now energy efficient. And then they'll also be having some elevator updates coming up this year without a special assessment to the residents as well. So if we go into the unit here, now this is a studio apartment and it's listed with 334 square feet, although I do have to say that that number is very misleading in terms of how this space is used. Typically in these apartments where you see that bed alcove right there, the studio layout in most of the other apartments in this building, where that bed alcove is actually closed off and it's a closet space. So while it's great for storage, it does limit the amount of accessible and usable space within the unit. But this one, they decided to open up that closet space, create that bed alcove, and you can fit a queen size bed in there nicely. Looking across there, you've got these towering windows that go from about 2 feet off the ground all the way up towards the ceiling. The ceiling's about 10 feet high, and it lets in a load of natural light. You don't have any other apartment buildings looking at you from the outside, which is really, really nice from a privacy standpoint. So you can keep those blinds open as often as you want and really let that southwestern light flood the space as well. You can see over on the right-hand side there, those were some closet units that the current owner put in there as kind of a built-in sort of situation to help make sure that you maintain that really clean look and that clean storage, since that bed alcove took up a little bit of the existing space. This wall here with all those built-in bookshelves as well. Currently, the owner uses it to display a ton of books, cookbooks, as well as some great novels that they read. But it is not a load-bearing wall, and we've actually had a contractor come through and look at what it would take to take down that wall and leave maybe one column to be able to use that as a bar top counter seating, and super accessible, maybe about $1,000 to do so, and including materials and labor there. So if we flip around, yeah, so there's a closet system that you can see there. Like you can see, even that very tall closet system doesn't even come close to the ceiling. It does have a lot of space above it. And because it's got those clean lines, you are able to put stuff with its back towards the closets, really use that large open space to accommodate a lot of folks when, of course, it's socially appropriate to do so. You can see here with the kitchen is an updated galley style kitchen. It is big, guys. For a studio apartment, I walked to probably 10 different studios when I was first looking at this listing to get a better sense of the size. And I could not find one other listing in that Logan area that had this much counter space in a studio. You see you've got an updated dishwasher. That one's new, as well as gas range, a full-size fridge with a microwave above, and then all of that storage from floor to ceiling using all 10 feet worth of space, as well as having that L shape in your countertop so that you have a lot of prep space and a generous size sink too. I know what it's like to have had a really small sink in an apartment before and it's not as usable. You can see you still get some natural light through that area as well, and under cabinet lighting surrounding the rest of the kitchen. There are some pot lights up above, but I've even found with those off, it still has a really warm and cozy vibe because of that warm natural light, as well as the under cabinet lighting for, setting the mood when you have guests over as well. Nice. And then the bathroom is a large tub shower with a big vanity for the space as well. Again, commonplace in this building are those traditional pedestal sinks. So those don't really give you a lot of counter space. But in this unit, the owner decided to put in a much larger vanity with more storage. So there's a lot more accessibility there. You do also get that natural light coming into the bathroom area, which of course still remains private since you are up on the 6th floor and you don't have other units looking in at you. Curiously enough, this white subway tile, and actually on the floor, we don't have a picture, but there's this beautiful white honeycomb tile, were original to the unit. And it's just funny to me that it thinks that, the 20s style of that honeycomb tile has finally come full circle. And now we're enjoying it once again, almost 100 years later. Awesome. So while the unit does have a lot of great features, it does not have laundry in unit. So there is a communal space within the building. This is an incredibly clean space. When I went down there, I was blown away by how clean, not damp it was. So it's not like a typical apartment basement. But you can see energy efficient washers and dryers. The washers are actually free to use in that water is included in your condo fee. And then the dryers actually have a smartphone app enabled so that you don't have to hang out down there the entire time while your laundry is being done. And it's really easy to stay present there as well. I think we've got some more outdoor photos and some neighborhood shots as well. This again, in the spring, some wonderful flora and fauna here. There's a cute little bench for you to be able to sit on, and one of my favorite trees to our DC area, the crepe myrtle tree, which blooms bright and pink throughout the course of the spring and into the summer as well. The beautiful part about this location too is that because of where it is within a half-mile walk of everything. I think the only attractive feature that I could find that was further than a half-mile walk was a Trader Joe's, and that was like a 0.6-mile walk. But there are Whole Foods markets, there are Safeways, there are Trader Joe's for all your shopping, as well as smaller markets like streets. You've got coffee shops, and this is actually in Blagden Alley that you're looking at, that La Colombe. So bars, restaurants, gyms, Pilates studios, yoga studios, CrossFit. Dasha Beer Garden is only about a half-mile away as well. So this is truly an opportunity to be able to get into a space that is very centrally located, and yet far enough away that you're not getting the foot traffic from all of these, really attractive destinations passing by your building with all the noise. But it's still accessible to anything and everything that you can imagine. Awesome.
Awesome. We're going to bring Kevin back. Awesome. That
Great.
is a really, really cute studio. I have a client and we've been looking at, I've probably seen in the last 2 weeks, 15 studios. And that's a really, really cute one.
The owner has done a phenomenal job and, making sure that it stayed updated, it stayed very clean, and really used that space in such an efficient way. I mean, I know studios are called efficiencies, but I can't tell you how many that I walk into where, they say that the layout is 450 or 500 square feet, and you think, jackpot, I found the biggest one I could find. And then 100 or plus of that square feet is encompassed by a foyer that you just don't use ever. But this one truly, I mean, not a single square inch of space is wasted.
Yeah. And it's interesting too that you said that the ceilings are so high, because you can't tell that from the picture. So it was nice that you mentioned how high the ceilings are.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And so it's really nice because they do have those really high ceilings. You have the ceiling fan already there as well. So both ways during the winter and the summer. There is not central AC, but we do have a window unit there, which is also Bluetooth enabled, so that you can actually have it off when you're away, so that you're conserving energy. And then when you're on your way home, you can just open up a little app, set the temperature for where you want, and come home to a nice, comfortable living space.
Nice. And so is there a HOA fee or condo fee? Is there a condo fee?
There is a condo fee. It's only $278 a month. It covers your water, trash, sewer. It actually also covers heating, because the heating is done by radiant heat in the building. And then building funds, reserve funds, and any sort of special projects. Like I mentioned before, one of the things that I love about this building is how fiscally responsible the condo board is. And I know that not only from their finances, but also because the owner of this unit is actually on the condo board themselves. And so levying special assessments is not something that they do very often, and yet they're still able to take on major projects because they make sure that they're using their money so wisely. So only 2 years ago, replacing every window except for those historic transom ones on the very first floor in the lobby with more energy efficient double hung windows, as well as going to be putting in brand new elevators this year with no additional charge to any of the residents. So this one, $278 a month is going to be your condo fees, which I think is extremely accessible for most folks, especially given the fact that this, you don't have a gym inside the building, but I mean, there are at least 6 or 7 of them within a half-mile walk that you could get to as well.
Nice. And are there any other amenities in the building, or besides, is there any other
Besides
amenities?
The laundry stuff? Yeah.
Yes.
So of course,
is there a rooftop or?
So there's not a rooftop in this building, no. The community garden is their communal space. There is a back patio as well. It doesn't get as much direct sunlight, but it does offer you a lot of privacy if you do have guests over there.
Okay.
There are also 2 parking spots off street behind a gate that you can access for this building. Those are owned separately, and one of them is actually up for sale right now as well, if anybody would be interested in that. But this is all around this area, Zone 2 parking. And this is the part of downtown DC where half the street is the Zone 2 2-hour and half the street is permit only parking at all times, which is always nice for those who actually have a parking permit, because you're not competing with people just visiting the area. But otherwise, the building also has bike storage, both inside and outside, for a very small fee. I think it's like $50 a year to be able to store your bike inside, as well as additional storage units in the basement for any sort of extra stuff that you may need to have there. But Nothing hidden, nothing crazy. I think personally that this is just such a great unit for somebody who's looking to get into the real estate market and start building equity in a home of their own without having to have hundreds of thousands of dollars to be able to put down at first. And it's an opportunity really to lock in that low cost of living for your housing expenses that we're seeing now in downtown DC for studios and for one bedroom apartments of this size. One of the things that I saw recently was that over the last year, I believe that studio rental prices have gone down about 14% since this time last year because of the pandemic, obviously. They used to be renting in the 1900s range. Now they're renting in the 1600 a month range, which of course is still a lot for renting a studio apartment, right?
Right.
But in this one, even if you were to put 5% down with your mortgage insurance, with the HOA fee, with the taxes, which are also very low for this unit, that would be locking in a $1,600 a month cost, and with very, very little out of pocket to get yourself started. So I think that, as we see people coming back into the city, as restrictions start to get lifted, and as we all start to get vaccinated and start to get back into these communal settings, this would be a really great home base for somebody who may otherwise be thinking about renting to avoid those increase in prices.
Right. So instead of giving that money away, just make an investment. And for $1,600, you could have your own studio, which is a first investment for a buyer. So absolutely. And that's at only 5% down, right? If you put in a whole 20%, then you're talking about like $1,000 a month. It's nothing. Right. Kevin, do you have any questions for Tom? Oh, wait, hold on. I think, oops, sorry, Kevin.
No worries.
I didn't realize you were muted. I'm so sorry. I was wondering why I couldn't hear you.
It might have been intentional. Okay. No, I'm kidding. I tend to talk too much. One thing I think was important to point out, Tom, and I think you did, and it's true, you rarely find a studio that has all the major appliances in the kitchen. I know that seems like a small little thing to overlook, but it's not so small when it's piled up dishes and an oven and a microwave and a full-size fridge. I mean, that's a rarity that I think is great about that listing of yours. So that's
absolutely, and one that still conserves the use of all the counter space. I visited several, like I mentioned when I was doing comparables and whatnot for this unit. I visited several very newly renovated studio apartments in the area, which were gorgeously done. However, to fit in all of those appliances and get a regular size sink and the full size fridge, I mean, there was maybe 20 total inches of counter space you can use, and it was broken up into a 10-inch chunk next to the sink and a 10-inch chunk next to the stove. And I don't know about you, but I have cutting boards that are much larger than that, so that wouldn't work for me either.
Right, and also to be able to have that space, usable space, I should underscore, in an older building. A lot of times the newer buildings are the ones that are quote unquote thought out, but when you get into it, you can get the benefits of both. An older building that I tend to find have better soundproofing because they're made more solidly, frankly, than the newer things.
Absolutely.
That's obviously a very blanket statement, but I think oftentimes you see a lot of noise issues that come up in new construction. And then you get the benefits of the old for the soundproofing, but then new because it's been thought out to get all those appliances and then not at a risk of losing counter space. So that's big.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you brought up that point of the noise too, because like you mentioned, I mean, in these older buildings, they're just built so differently. They're plaster walls. And so they're not just crazy thrown up quick drywall. This unit actually, on one side of it is the elevator banks. And so you don't have another unit next to you there. And on the other side of it are the emergency stairs. So you don't have another unit on the other side there. I think of all of the wall space, maybe like 3 feet is actually touching another person's unit. And I think it's touching somebody else's bathroom layout. So you don't have people on either side of you talking and making lots of noise and whatnot. And because, everything is the hardwood floors and, thick distance in between the units up and down, it's incredibly quiet. And, I think it's a really nice little retreat from all the other sort of social stuff that you'll be doing in that area for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Tom, are you having an open house this weekend?
We are, yes. We're doing 2 open houses, Saturday and Sunday from 1 to 4 p.m. I'll be there. It's an intercom to buzz into the building, but we're hooking it up to my phone, so we're good to go. And it'll be a nice, easy transition for folks to come in. And as an added bonus, just to feature some of the neighborhood stuff, we'll have some of those cans of La Colombe draft lattes. So if you guys wanted to stop by and get a free coffee, that's fine too.
Awesome. And then if anyone is watching this later, well, you know what? Before I go into that, because we will go to Kevin's listing next, I had a question about that area where your bed is. Is that enough room if someone wanted to put in a Murphy bed? Is that enough room?
Absolutely, yes. So as you can see there, the alcove fit the queen size bed with still having some room on the side for you to be able to, traverse. A queen size bed could fit a full Murphy style in that space if you wanted even more usable room. And then a full size bed, if you have something a little bit smaller, could fit both the long way that the queen size was, but also the other way as well to keep it even more tucked away. If you're somebody who wanted to put up a screen or something like that to be able to truly divide those two spaces so they weren't visually on top of one another.
Okay. And I will say, I saw a Murphy bed this past week that had an attached table. So if you wanted to have like an eating table, you could have a Murphy bed with an eating table, which is really cool. It was a 4-person eating table. So it's really neat.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And the fact that you can open up that wall in between the kitchen and the living space as well to put a bar top seating area for either extra prep space or even just to pull up bar stools too, both either inside or outside of the kitchen. I think that's really nice as well if you're looking for a solution to have both a clean eating area, but also not having to fit a table into the space to clutter anything up. It still remains very open and very usable room.
Nice, nice. Okay, well, if anyone's watching this later and they have questions for you, how can they reach you? How can they get in touch?
Absolutely. Best way, my phone number is 571-215-2821, or you can just reach out at tom.o'neill@compass.com. O'Neill is O-N-E-I-L, just one L, not spelled like Shaquille, unfortunately.
Nice. Well, Tom, thank you so much for sharing. We're going to come back when we bring you back. If you think of anything that you forgot to mention, we'll let you mention that at the end. But we're going to move on to Kevin. Kevin has this amazing industrial style 2-bedroom, 1-bath condo that's in Logan Circle. So I am excited for him to show this to you. And I'm going to put us in the waiting room. And then, Kevin, you have the floor.
Great. Okay, so we'll go through, I guess, via photos, but thank you, Karen, for that intro. And as she said, we have a 2-level penthouse level apartment at Lofts 14. Lofts 14 is an 85-unit building along what is deemed Automobile Row. It's the 1400 block of Church Street. There's a photo of it right there. And between 14th and 15th, it is one-way westbound. It is a very intimate street. Very tight streetscape, so to speak, obviously with sidewalks on both sides of the street running east to west, but it is a row of buildings from the 1910s and 20s that were automobile showrooms and automobile garages, mechanic garages, that have been transformed primarily in the mid-2000s, as was the case with our building, Lofts 14, which was transformed by RTKL, which is a internationally renowned architectural firm, and they developed, which was once a mechanic's garage, as I said, and made it into 85 units, varying sizes from about 600 square feet up to a pretty sizable over 2,000 square feet. And so ours is located on the top floor. It is a 2-level, and we will continue on and see more photos. But here's the hallway. And we enter in the first photo into the unit itself. Closets on along the right. We go into the living space, which is towards the back of the building. Those are north-facing windows. And as you can tell, very high ceilings, probably about 12 feet. Concrete ceilings that have been painted to kind of give that industrial look. Of course, the exposed beams. We do have track lighting, industrial track lighting, and then the exposed ductwork to all kind of wrap in, tie in this look of industrial space, which is so uncommon in DC, which is why these units along Church Street tend to be very popular because it is a unique offering. We do also have exposed, non-painted columns, concrete columns, as you see there on the right, but that does have double doors that leads to a small Juliet balcony. Again, north facing, so you don't have direct light, and you'll see this upstairs as well, but a benefit of that is you can leave those blinds open for light and not be worried about either floors staining or bleaching over time from direct sunlight. And also direct light cuts back on your utility bill, of course. But you get the benefit of having great streetscape, great city views, and a lot of light still flooding this unit. About 1,100 square feet in total across the two levels, which we'll see more photos of. And this pans from the living space, which is kind of a living dining combo space, into the Scavallini kitchen. Scavallini is a company out of northern Italy and is still very popular, but did a bunch of units. The building hired them, RTKL, I should say, hired them to come in and do custom cabinetry. So you do have that with a center island that was added by our sellers. And we also have updated quartz countertop and full run backsplash, as you see there, really completing the kind of modern look and there's two options. So you can see the kitchen in full effect. Stainless steel appliances, par for the course, undermount sink, and plenty of cabinetry. But then the additional island that was added on adds for some more prep space, more counter space. So that's definitely very helpful. And there's some more shots of it. But you can see that full ceiling height really opens up the space. We'll see what's behind the wall on the left as we go deeper into the virtual tour. Panning into what is the main level bedroom, the primary bedroom. Again, more exposed concrete columns, high ceilings, as is the case in the living space. That is a barn door on the left-hand side of that chair that opens to the living space. And I think there might be another shot of it so you can get kind of the full effect. But definitely space big enough for a king-size bed. We have a queen in there now for staging, but you can see that ample space. And again, the same northern exposure. This is the full bath that's in the unit. We do have a Toto commode as well as tile floor and shower wall with a fixed glass wall off the shower as well, and a pedestal sink. This is panning from the front door to the unit, and you can see about 4 or 5 steps up to what we're calling a den, one of 2 den spaces in this unit. Perfect for a home office, as we're all now adjusting from COVID with working from home, but a perfect home office or a guest space. Separated on the other side of that wall is that kitchen, but you do see there is some separation, physical separation, and it can be further separated if you would like to take on such a project by adding in a glass wall. More expensive to do, a little bit more of an undertaking, but would completely soundproof this room from the rest of the common living space, which you can see right there, peeking out over that half wall. Spiral stair, completing the industrial look, all the way up to the upper level of this 2-level penthouse unit, where we do have also another quartz-topped counter where we have a wet bar as well as another den area. So it's kind of a 2-den unit. So we kind of combined it to say a 2-bedroom, if you will, give us some artistic license. And beautiful double doors, glass doors that lead out to a huge private terrace. But a great, another kind of a entertaining space, maybe a den, maybe a TV watching area if you don't want to have it downstairs. But then it does lead out to what is the cream, the cream on top of this amazing cake, if that's the saying, I think so. And that would be the private, almost 500 square foot terrace that faces north, just like the rest of the windows in this unit, but is also one of the largest in the building. Of the penthouse units, not all of them are 2-level, and not all of them have as big of a private terrace as Unit 514 does. But this one really shows this space. I mean, easily dividable in 2 sections, entertaining, dining, a combination thereof, enough to have mature plantings and still have space for entertaining and daily living or daily use. And again, because it's not south facing, you don't have such direct sun, and we all know that helps in our DC summers. There's also a water and a gas hookup, both up there. You can have a grill, water the plants, and really take use of this space. This also overlooks the back of the building, which is also quiet, just like Church Street is as well. But you've got great cityscapes, points north, northeast, northwest, including the National Cathedral. So it's really just a very unique offering. Here's some photos of, prerequisite Logan, Trader Joe's, which opened years ago, to much excitement. A couple steps away from this unit. Starbucks, of course, Stoney's. Number 9, we've got Vita Fitness just beyond in the end of that shot. with Diplomat. Can't go wrong there. So in the heart of it all, I mean, Church Street really is, the 1400 block of Church Street really is one of the most coveted in all of Logan, if not the city itself. And so this is just another beautiful offering that that is available for you. And that's it. Oh, I guess I should also add, no, Karen, I guess that's not it. I should also add, this does come with one garage parking space. It does also, which is a standard 9 by 18 foot space on the second of 2 parking levels in the building, as well as it also has additional storage, which is about 6 feet, I'm guessing this, but about 6 feet by 8 feet deep, caged, protected, just off the same level as the parking. The building is staffed 7 days a week, kind of follows standard business hours, but for package delivery, Amazon, as everyone's ordering these days more and more, but package delivery, newspaper delivery, if you have that and you have a subscription, greeting guests. It is an elevator building, of course, and there are 2 banks, I should say 2 stacks, 1 elevator each, loading dock off the back of the building in the alley for move-in. Very well managed by a local management company, and fees are about $670 a month, and that includes everything as well as water, sewer, and gas for cooking. So that's it. But that is our offering in one of the most coveted buildings in DC, if not other parts of the country as well. I think might try to get people into Logan for Tom's listing as well. Let's get more people to move to DC to get into these opportunities. This is going international, Karen. This is going international.
So this is going international. Yes, yes.
Come to the States. I don't know.
Yes. Repeat. I was bringing Tom in. Repeat what you said about parking. There was one parking space.
Yep, there is 1 garage parking space. It is a 9 by 18 size spot, so none of this compact stuff. Standard size. It's on the second of the 2 parking levels. It's on the same level as the storage that also transfers with the unit. Not every unit in the building has parking. Not every unit in the building has storage. This has both.
Okay, that's awesome. And then the balcony is just amazing. The terrace.
Yeah, the terrace is just amazing. We have 2 outdoor spaces. So there's a little Juliet balcony that's on the main level, and then the terrace is one of the largest, as I said, one of the largest in the buildings, of just under 500 square feet, paved, with pavers, concrete pavers. Does have a spigot for water. Does have hookup up there as well. But I mean, big enough that you can easily have 2 outdoor spaces. It's not just dining or not just seating. It can be both. It can be everything. So, and I think the current owners also have a storage shed up there. So, in addition, you can have a place for cushions, a place for things that need to be put away during certain times of the year for weather. So, it really is a big space and just very coveted. I would think to be in that location and also have that much private outdoor space is kind of unheard of.
Now the Juliet Terrace, how wide is it? Can you put like a little chair out there, or are you just standing just to look over?
Yeah, no, good question. It's more of a step out. It's really kind of, open your doors and let down your hair for Rapunzel or something. But like, there's not much else that from that perspective. But open the double doors, get a cross breeze coming through. I mean, it's a big advantage, and you are above all the surrounding buildings' roofs. So I mean, you're not hitting at anybody's, back of their house. I mean, you have a clear sight line to some points on the horizon, and then you go up another level and it's even better.
Yeah, absolutely. And then here's another question, because I know, in the past I had a buyer that was interested in a unit that was like this. I'm not sure if that buyer would be happy about the stairs. Do you think it's possible to change the stairs so that they're not spiral?
Yeah.
Is there space to do that?
Right. You're not the first person to ask that. I would think it'd be quite expensive to do that. And also I'm afraid of what kind of floor space, and I mean that in the sense of the actual square footage they would take up from wherever they would land. I think from a safe saving, or space, I should say, saving perspective, circular is probably the best. I think you could also put a material on the treads of the stairs that would not make them feel as vulnerable. If you're wearing heels, or you just don't feel comfortable having a graded surface for the stair portion, you could probably put a different material that would make them feel a little bit more solid. We don't have any estimates for putting in kind of a kickback stair if you were to do that. And of course, you'd have to probably go through the building to make sure it was allowed. I think Right. Most of, if not all of the 2-level units in the building have a circular stair, probably so that they can take advantage of the floor
space.
space each level. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, to me, Karen, that circular stair, I don't see that quite as any sort of issue, especially because you're not leading it up to another bedroom per se, but you're leading it up to usable entertainment space. So it's not something that you'll be traversing every single day and something where you'll have to be coming up and down nonstop.
Right.
If there was a second bedroom up there, I think it would be a little bit more of a concern. But because it also ties in with all the rest of the architectural details of the space, I think that it's a really creative way. And then, circular staircases are an experience. So why not start off with an experience before getting up?
And I was going to actually just piggyback what Tom was saying too. We also have been at plenty of those buildings where the exterior condo, may have a circular stair that goes down to like the parking in the back of the building. And that's a little bit of a different experience because you're 3 stories above a sidewalk, for instance. You're not inside a unit. So at least the feeling of uncomfortable and unsafe, that's a little bit mitigated. So, I mean, it could be worse, I guess is what I'm trying to say. A lot worse.
Yeah.
So,
no, I like the stairs. I just want to bring you a buyer. So I know I was just trying to ask just for
I'll throw in stairs, Karen. I'll throw in stairs. We'll make it work.
Nice. The cabinets are just beautiful. Do you know what type of wood the cabinets are made of?
I believe that they are oak cabinets that Scavellini did. They did kind of the same aesthetic on a lot of the condominiums, if not all the condominiums at Loft 14 at 41 Church. They got an aesthetic down with designers, with Scavellini designers who worked with RTKL, and it kind of came up with something that just knocked it out of the park. And so did it on repeat for the units themselves. Now, this was a different. I think I mentioned this was a different countertop material originally, but the current sellers did switch them out for quartz, which really kind of just created. It was a great contrast with the darker cabinets, and brought it also up to speed in terms of today's kind of aesthetic. And it's the full run on the backsplash, so it's not subway tiled, but that kind of also fits in with the kind of clean line modern look that's going on in the rest of the unit. So and those are brand new quartz countertops, so that matches also what's upstairs on the wet bar. So yeah, it all blends together really nicely, and it just works.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. Tom, do you have any other questions for Kevin?
Oh my gosh, I don't know if I have a lot of other questions, but I am blown away by this space. I mean, to me, it almost is reminiscent of something that you'd see in a more industrial city like Chicago or something, which is so unique for the DC area, especially on these kind of streets like you see in between 14th and DuPont Circle, basically.
Right.
Where this could be such a cool opportunity, seeing as DC is such an incredible transplant city for folks who are coming from all around the country to live here, that you could still get that taste of more familiarity and very unique sort of setup as well. I do like as well how you have those quartz countertops that you're mentioning, and that those are unique to this unit. It really does make it feel a little bit less like this was a builder project, and it actually had a lot more personal touches on it as well. I could not say enough about Church Street either. I used to live in DuPont Circle as well. And I mean, between 21st and 14th Street, Church Street, the one-way street is so nice to be able to have, so that you're not getting a lot of back and forth traffic, as well as just it's so quiet and so walkable, and just connects those two neighborhoods beautifully. I think that it's a great sort of opportunity to be in a really, really, really vibrant area, but at the same time not have people yelling and running past your building at all times, which of course is people's issues sometimes with living downtown. And I thought as well, Kevin, your point about that north-facing light on the balcony up there, I've had a north-facing terrace as well, and let me just say, it is definitely more usable during the DC summers, right? It's the right temperature by happy hour, you don't have to wait until 9 o'clock at night before you're able to step out there.
Right. It's not a 3-season. I mean, you can be actually a 3-season use, not a 2-season use, because it's so ghastly hot here in the summertime. So we need all the help we can get. I mean, I think,
is there electricity up on that terrace as well? I know you said gas hookup in the water too.
There are a couple outdoor outlets that are up there as well. Yeah. So if need be, we could bring other things out there, and I think to your point, Tom, about the location, I mean, I think we kind of saw photos of the neighborhood. You are on a quiet block that's almost overlooked and missed by people who don't know the area and drive right by it because it almost looks like an alley, frankly. If it didn't have trees, it would look like an alley because it's a very narrow street with all these mechanics garages and showrooms. You would have thought it would have been a wider street, but it wasn't. But you are spitting distance to Whole Foods. You are spitting distance to some of the hottest restaurants and some of the best nightlife for when that returns to our daily lives in the city by far, and some of the most expensive real estate by far. So this is really a dream offering on a dream street. So, yeah.
Awesome. That's just totally my style. So I hope, I love that it's industrial style. I know, I can have my house and then just have an extra house that I can just.
Yeah, pied à terre. Everyone needs a pied à terre. So
yes, absolutely. I am just changing out. So yeah, I hope that I would love to see more architecture like that built in the city, because that's, like I said, that's absolutely, that's my style, my husband's style. So yes, we love that, those kind of things. So great 2-bedroom, 1-bath apartment. Kevin, are you having an open house this weekend?
We are not, but it is very easy to show with your agent, with Karen, with me, with Tom. Not in that order, so whatever you all want to do, but it's very easy to show, and it is vacant, so we can, whoever it is can get you in there pretty quickly, pretty easily.
Awesome. And then if anyone's watching this later and they have questions, how can they get into contact with you?
My cell phone, 202-360-3945. Happy to answer any questions.
Awesome. Okay, well, that's our time. Thank you so much, Kevin, for sharing your listing with us. Thank you, Tom, for sharing yours. And thank you guys for tuning in to New Listings at Noon, where every week I bring on realtors in the DMV area and they talk about current listings that they have on the market. I'm Karen Ringo, and we will see you soon. Bye.